Welcome to our programming tutorial, and I also welcome you to JavaScript syntax. Okay, so as usual, we want to take a brief introduction of JavaScript, what you'll be expecting, and terms that you need to know before we start. So anytime those terms comes up, you won't find it difficult to understand. Remember, not like when you're dealing with HTML, CSS, though, like I told you before now, they are not programming language. JavaScript is a programming language, but they follow the same. They have a syntax, they have some tags that must go along with them. So you can browse it, read up about tags that with JavaScript, things that cannot use JavaScript, and stuff like that. So that much you do. Let's go into briefly about JavaScript and all you need to know briefly, introductory aspect of JavaScript. So JavaScript or whatever you call it is a programming language. Okay, it is syntax. Its syntax has much in common with other major programming languages, and that's the beauty of programming language. If you know one, you can know the rest. Maybe little differences. Okay, simply learning JavaScript will make learning additional programming languages significantly easier. So before we go any further, please understand that JavaScript is not the same as Java. Okay, Java is a language, JavaScript is a language. They are different programming languages and have nothing to do with each other. Okay, one is a compiler and one is not, so they are not the same at all. Okay, Java is not short for JavaScript. It's a very common misconception, and this misconception are made majorly by code noobs. Okay, those doesn't know much about programming. And I believe from the fact from where we are coming from, you now have knowledge about programming. Maybe you already have a lot of knowledge about programming. Okay, so having said that, let's now move on to the aspect of coding JavaScript. Okay, let's start with statements. Remember, when we are dealing with HTML, we're dealing with CSS, we say they all have statements. JavaScript is not left out, it also has a statement. What are statements? Statements, computer programs are created by programming languages, okay, like JavaScript, and are given specific instructions to perform. Okay, so programming languages give computer programs instruction through statements. Those things you type in, those things you write in, those are the statements. And when computer read your statement, they'll be able to perform your statement. So statements are separated by semicolons. Mark that point. Like so, for example, let's say var. Var stands for variable. Okay, we'll soon get to there. But let's say var form message is equals to hello. It's like hello is on quote, and then at the end of the day you see semicolon that ends the statement. And then you see semicolon that ends the statement. Then you now want them to show this on your screen. You now use window.alert. Meanwhile, some people only alert, but don't worry, when we get there, when we get to the practical aspect, we explain this. Window.alert, you have your code browser, you have your bracket, then you have form message, and then semicolon. That's because semicolon also ends the statement. In other words, there are two statements here. The first one was a statement that issue what you want to do. You create a container for something and you call that container form message. Then you say that in that container, that is the first statement. Then second statement says that container has hello, that hello, you want that hello to be displayed, which is the second statement. Okay, so that is the two statements in here. Now let's move on. Statements in JavaScript had 5 separate elements. Don't forget them. The first one is your values, your keywords, expressions, operators, and comments. Okay, and comments. Statement values. There are two types of value in JavaScript. We have your fixed value and your variable value. You know, from that word fix, you know what it means. Fixed are just like literals. Okay, you call them literals, aka literals. That is word for fix. Think of this value as something that doesn't change. It remains fixed. Okay, like fixed element. Okay, ever, because it's being hard coded, so it cannot change. It's hard coded. Example of this are like 17.425 or 946. Another example of fixed statement with our strings. Strings are simply text written in a single quote or double quotes. It's allowed. Okay, but in some cases you may decide to vary it based on some reason. I'll get practically. I will also show you those reasons why you have to use one instead of using, you have to vary it. Okay, expressions composed to values like maths, for example, you say 10 times 4, or you say 3.14 minus 6. All these are what? Literals. In other words, fixed statement, hard-coded statement. Statement values for variable. Let's talk about variable now. Values of variable. Variable values are also called variables. Okay, variables are different from literals. Remember, literals are fixed statements. Why are they different? Because the value can change. The other one is fixed, but this can change. Variables are used to store data such as numbers, strings, or expressions. So those numbers you are bringing out as a statement, they are fixed, right? But where you store them varies. They become variable. Okay, they can change. You can change the name. You can give this one, you are storing somewhere else. Okay, so think of a variable as a bucket that can have stores in it. Of which when you get out of that bucket, when that bucket gets filled up, you can take some stores out of it or bring in more to it. So they vary. JavaScript uses the keyword var for variable, okay, to define a variable. So when you see var, you know that they are talking about variable. Then uses equals to assign a value to a variable. So by the time you see variable, you must see equals to. Equals to, so tell you the only noise that come after equals to is the value you assign to a variable. Okay, let's take for instance var my variable. In other words, you want to create a variable and you call that variable my variable. That bucket, you call it my variable. Now you want to put something on that stuff. You want to put stuff on that bucket. So for you to do that, you have to bring out my variable, which is the statement you've made before now, is equals to 2 plus 4. In other words, I want to put numbers there, but that number should be calculated and the answer should be put in that variable. Am I making sense? Are you getting it? If you're not, no problem. We'll soon get more and you get understanding of all these things. Okay, so just understand it the way we are taking them one after the other. The next one is statements operators. In JavaScript and many other programming languages, there are many different types of operators, but let's talk about the two most common type, okay, which is the arithmetic operators and the assignment operators. Okay, arithmetic operators and assignment operators. Statement operators, let's deal with arithmetic operators now. Arithmetic operators are used for math. Okay, here are some of the most common arithmetic operations that are used for math. Remember your plus, your minus, your tens, and your division. These things, they don't change, they remain the same. Okay, for example, you can say var a is equals to 1 plus 2, or var b is equals to 10 minus 8, or var c is equals to a plus b, or var d is equals to 100 divided by c. But remember, each of these statements must end with what? Semicolon, to show that the statement have what? Ended. Am I making sense? Are you getting it? Please do. Let's talk about the next one, operators. Assignment. Assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. Okay, for instance, now instead of just rewriting the other one, a plus b, a is equals to a plus b, you can just shorten it to the first one is equals to a equals to b, which is a equals to b. You go to plus or equals to. When you see plus or equals to, what I'm trying to say, it's just a shorthand of a is equals to a plus b. So a plus equals to b, just a shorthand of a is equals to. So just like we said, it's just an abbreviation. For example, if I write minus equals to, let's say for instance a is minus equals to b, what are we trying to say? What it just says is that a is equals to a minus b. Okay, in other words, we are going to subtract a value to a variable. Then if we use times or equals to, let's say for instance a times or equals to b, we're trying to say that a is equals to a times b, a times b, so multiplies a value to a variable. Then if you use division, like divide is or equals to, can take example of a divide equals to b. What this simply means is this: a is equals to a divided by b, which is divide a value to a variable. Okay, so these are assignment operators. Okay, then what about statements? Remember comments as a statement. When we are doing HTML, CSS, we talk about comments. So comment can be in a single line. For JavaScript, you use your double slash, or for a multi comment, you use slash then asterisk, and end with another slash just asterisk. So whatever is here, a comment that cannot be seen. Okay. So remember, JavaScript are case sensitive, so you can either use camel case. For example, JavaScript, meaning the following variables are entirely different. If I put your name in capital letter, this is camel case, Brad Housey. So different from your name in small letter, which is coding code. Okay, so that means that the keyword var must always be typed in the lowercase. So these are a few things you can take on JavaScript. In our next tutorial, we'll now go practically into this and then see how we can code with JavaScript. I can't wait to see you there. Thank you for listening to Steven this morning, and see you in our next tutorial. Bye.